All right, let's talk about one of the world's absolute favorite superfoods, the blueberry. It's delicious, it's packed with antioxidants, but, and you might find this surprising, it's also one of the most ridiculously difficult and demanding plants for farmers to actually grow.
So why? Why is this little blue superfood such a massive headache to grow on a global scale? Well, the answer comes down to this really fundamental conflict between what the plant desperately wants and what the planet can actually offer.
The best way to think about it is this. The blueberry plant is an extremely picky eater. I mean, it has this very, very precise list of demands for where it lives. And if you don't meet every single one of those demands, it just won't grow. And that, you can imagine, creates a huge problem for farmers everywhere. And this right here is the heart of the dilemma. On one side, you have the blueberries. They crave soil that's acidic, light, airy, and drains really well. But on the other side, you have the world's best growing climates, places with the perfect amount of sun and just the right temperatures. And what kind of soil do they usually have? The complete opposite. Dense, clay-like, alkaline soil. It's a total mismatch. So what do you do when the ground itself is your biggest enemy? Well, for decades, farmers tried to fix the soil, to fight it. But the real breakthrough, the game-changing idea, was something way more radical. What if you just bypassed the soil altogether? And this is where the story gets really, really clever. Instead of fighting a losing battle with nature, modern agriculture just decided to build the perfect custom-made home for blueberry roots, right from scratch. The tech behind this is called soilless agriculture, or sometimes substrate culture. The idea is actually pretty simple, but it is revolutionary. You grow the plants in these special pots filled with a custom-blended medium. Doing it this way gives you absolute, total control over everything the roots experience. And the engineering is this brilliant three-part system. Down at the bottom, you've got a gutter that catches and recycles any extra water or nutrients. Then, and this part is so crucial, you have this little plastic lift called a spacer. It just raises the pot off the ground, which guarantees the roots never get waterlogged and are always surrounded by oxygen. That prevents root rot, which is the #1 enemy of these plants. And then, of course, you have the pot itself, filled with that perfect substrate, a 5-star hotel for roots. So, what's in this magic soil? Well, it's a very precise recipe. You start with cocoa peat, which is made from coconut husks, and it holds onto water just right. Then you mix in aged pine bark for structure and that natural acidity blueberries absolutely love. And finally, you add perlite. It's this volcanic glass that creates millions of tiny air pockets, keeping the roots perfectly happy and aerated. Okay, so we've built the perfect home. We are done, right? Not even close. Now we get to an even bigger challenge. How do you feed this incredibly sensitive plant? This is where the science gets really cool. You see, you run into this really tough paradox. Goal number 1 is to keep the pH low, because that's the only way blueberries can absorb nutrients like iron. To do that, you have to add acidic fertilizers. But, and here's the catch, all fertilizers are basically salts. And goal number 2 is to keep salt low, because blueberries are extremely sensitive to it. So the very thing you need to add to solve one problem creates another one that can literally kill the plant. Trying to manage this delicate balancing act by hand? It's pretty much impossible. The only way you can really solve this paradox is with technology, by giving every single plant its own smart, automated, personal nutritionist that's working 24/7. The system is called high-frequency fertigation. Now, here's how it works. It's genius. You have these sensors that measure the intensity of the sunlight. So on a really bright, sunny day, the system knows the plant is working hard and getting thirsty. So it delivers a tiny little sip of nutrient-rich water, maybe 15 or 20 times a day. It's always just enough so you never have unused fertilizer sitting around building up as salt. Okay, so we've hacked the soil, we have solved the feeding paradox. What does all this high-tech work actually add up to? Well, the results are nothing short of dramatic. I mean, just look at this. In the very first year, a traditional farm might get, say, 10,000 kilograms per hectare, but a soilless farm, you're looking at 15,000 kilograms. That is a massive difference right out of the gate. Let's just put a number on that. It's a 50% jump in yield from the start. This completely changes the entire economic model of farming blueberries. It means growers can get a return on that big initial investment way, way faster. And it's not just about more berries. This system uses up to 25% less fertilizer and a ton less water. You get to eliminate all that backbreaking labor of tilling and weeding. Plus, by growing in greenhouses, farmers can protect their investment from things like frost or hail or pests. You get a guaranteed harvest every single year. It's a win-win-win. So this technology isn't just changing things for individual farmers, it's kicking off a global blueberry gold rush. It is literally redrawing the map of where our food comes from right before our eyes. I mean, look at this. You have countries like Peru and Mexico, places with the perfect climate but historically terrible soil for blueberries. Now, they're global export giants. And then you've got a country like Turkey, which is using this tech to gain a huge strategic advantage. By using these soilless systems, they can get their berries to the super valuable European market a full 30 to 40 days before anybody else. This quote really puts the economic power of this into perspective. The average value of Turkey's agricultural exports is around $1.40 per kilogram. For these high-tech blueberries, it's €5 per kilogram. That is an incredible leap in value, all thanks to this one crop. So, by completely rethinking the problem from the ground up, we've managed to turn an impossible plant into a global economic powerhouse. And it leaves you with a really fascinating question, doesn't it? If we can hack the blueberry, what other impossible foods will technology unlock for us next?